I feel like for this show, someone at Studio White Fox stood up in a writer's meeting and went, "Hey guys, you remember when we did that time travel anime and everybody loved the shit out of it? Let's do that again!" There is a reason why, for a time, I never liked following airing anime series. There is also a reason why when I did look into whatever season of anime was currently airing, I rarely went past the third episode for a first reaction. Because of shit like this. Shit that I watch that now makes me just want to sit in front of my TV anxiously waiting for the next episode, like I need another fix of drugs or something. Anyway, so our main character of ReZero, Subaru, gets inexplicably dropped into a nearby fantasy world, because it's not like we've seen that shit before, after discovering that no one is going to just waltz up to him and award him with the prize for being the most perfect fantasy protagonist that this world was looking for. He eventually gets in contact with the super rare, awesome female love interest, after getting his ass handed to him by the Three Stooges. I didn't come up with that name for them, by the way, the show did. I just ripped that off from them. Anyway, as it turns out, the nicer than words can possibly express female character, Satella, reveals that she has lost her insignia, taken by this chick who Subaru witnessed pre-ass kicking. After volunteering to help in her search because what the hell else is he going to do? The pair complete some miscellaneous side quests and end up in a seemingly abandoned shop outside of town, where they both get brutally murdered by an unseen assassin.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It's at this point that Subaru wakes up, not dead, and back in town. What just happened is that Subaru has experienced his first time loop, one that closes and repeats upon his death. Now, I say this as an obvious matter of fact, but because our protagonist is dumber than a bag of bricks sometimes, it is still quite a while until he actually realizes what the hell is happening to him himself, even though to, us, the audience, everything is as clear as day. To be fair, we didn't just have the traumatic experience of having our guts ripped out, but, still. So, from here on out, Subaru must attempt to survive his gruesome encounter, save the girl, and all the while keep in mind that every time he loops, nobody remembers who he is. Because in their world, he just appeared out of freaking nowhere. And right there is one thing about the writing that I both really like and also at times get a little annoyed by. So on the one hand, I like how character-focused the show is trying to be at times. Even normally inconsequential characters feel a lot more fleshed out at points, simply because of how they are constantly, brought up through the multiple timelines that Subaru experiences. On the other hand, though, because each of the arcs so far has been so character-focused, it's hard to get a sense of where this show is eventually going. What's the end goal? To compare the series with other time travel anime that I have seen, and it's one of my favorite plot devices, so I've seen a few. One of the things that they all have in common is a goal, an end goal. It's an end point, usually to save a single person or to save groups of people. But ultimately, there is a reason why these time loops are happening, and the protagonists are striving to reach a point where the loops just stop. A happy ending, as it were. With ReZero, I'm not sure where that endpoint is supposed to be. You think you know where it is at the start, but then the show's like, oh, you thought we were done? Well, no. There's more. I have no doubt that Subaru is striving to get his eventual happy ending, but I'm curious to see just what effect all of this is going to have on him when there is no clear end goal in sight. And that's another thing, I suppose. Will he break entirely? Mentally, I mean. Physically, he breaks a lot. That's how he loops. But how does one psychologically handle the kind of shit that he is going through? Now, I would assume that he will indeed not break at least any more than he already has, because a brain-dead protagonist would not really make for an interesting show. But I'd like to see them explain how. Not that they've been very good at, explaining some things so far. Subaru's backstory is an obvious target here, because he's portrayed as a stereotypical shut-in that plays, games and watches anime all day, and yet, apparently, he works out and is in prime physical condition? Okay, show. Sure. Let's go with that. So I wouldn't say that this show is a masterstroke of writing, at least not yet. Quite a few times thus far, the show has either only given us hints as to what's happening, or only showcases one potential side of the story. And then when you have multiple timelines to consider and keep in your head, sometimes things will inevitably get muddled. So how the series is going to try to give us a sensible and explainable conclusion to the whole mess will ultimately change my opinion on the whole thing quite heavily. So is ReZero worth watching? Well, so far, hell yes it is. Though a regular watcher of my videos might note my kind of bias towards these sort of plots after my reviews for shows like Steins Gate, Higurashi, and Erased. Anything involving time, whether you are moving backwards, forwards, slideways, slantways, longways, backways, squareways, frontways, and any other ways that you can think of, are things that I just personally have a large affinity for. So for the time being, the show is holding my interest heavily. However, I know full well that this kind of plot setup can easily shit the bed if the writers start to phone things in. Time travel needs to be clever. Anything less, and you'll end up with a disappointing plot. So, with luck, ReZero will not be that. And I can hope, anyways. Despite being unlicensed at present, you can watch the series over on Crunchyroll if you happen to have access to it. Link in the description for the premium service free trial, as usual, should you require it. And finally, what did you guys think of ReZero? Let me know down in the Watchamajig, and for those of you who are further along in this show than I go in this particular video, or just happen to be privy to future knowledge, no spoilers, please. Thank you for joining me on this first reaction. If you like this sort of thing, hit the like button to let me know. And if you have a suggestion for what I should do a first reaction on next, let me know down in the comments, though chances are I'm probably already going to be doing it. And until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.